Happy Habs home opener day, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. It is another good day where the Canadiens are rewarding some personnel for doing some good work. And that is Jeff Gorton, formerly Vice President of Hockey Operations for the Montreal Canadiens, now officially President of Hockey Operations for the Montreal Canadiens, and Kent Hughes, General Manager. Both of these guys have been extended for a 5-year contract extension by Jeff Molson, owner of the Montreal Canadiens. And as a fan, based on everything we've seen the last few years since the rebuild was officially committed to, first of all, by owner Jeff Molson, is that we've seen some really great hires by Jeff Molson. I really like the extension. I really like the move. And on top of all of this, you guys, I want to say that there's been rumors over the last few years. There was other teams that inquired for Jeff Gorton's services. I want to make this clear, that other teams around the NHL sense that what the Canadiens are doing is working and they want a piece of it. That means that there was lots of interest for Jeff Gorton, and Jeff Molson simply said no at the most recent request to speak with Jeff Gorton about moving on to another team. With the hire of Jeff Gorton years ago, we saw Jeff Gorton actually hire several key components to what's been helping this rebuild along with the Montreal Canadiens. And that, of course, includes General Manager Kent Hughes. That includes Co-Director of Amateur Scouting Nick Bobrov. Anybody else thankful for Nick Bobrov and his insight into who the Canadiens should draft from the very first year that the Canadiens had a chance to start this rebuild? And Special Advisor to Hockey Operations Vincent Lecavalier. And this is a big one here, the Director of Hockey Development, Adam Nicholas, who works very closely with the players. And if you've seen any clips of Adam Nicholas working alongside the players in practice, this guy's full of passion. He's full of passion. He's direct. He's to the point, and he's all about helping these players get better in a way that is effective for each individual player, because as we know, every player is different. I truly give Jeff Molson, owner of the Montreal Canadiens, a lot of credit too, because he knows how important the Canadiens are to the province of Quebec, to the Canadiens fans all around the world. He gets it. He gets the market, and he knew who to put in place to give the Canadiens the next chance to create a new dynasty. And they're trying to go for that 25th cup first and foremost, believe me, but he knew the right person to bring in was Jeff Gorton. And I just give him full marks for doing it at the right time and standing in front of all of us, telling us that this team, this franchise needed a new direction. And that's absolutely what he's given us. And I believe that they've executed on it so far. What I appreciate a lot about the Montreal Canadiens' current management is that, they don't hide from the fans. They're not trying to sugarcoat things as much as they used to. They're not trying to not take questions that are hard questions. They're willing to talk about players. They're willing to talk about players that have trade interest. For example, over the last few years, Josh Anderson had a lot of trade interest, right? And the Canadiens will tell the player if they have interest, but they also tell the player where things are at, and that they're only going to move them if they really feel it's going to be of most benefit to the Montreal Canadiens. They're also making sure that communication is of utmost importance for the Montreal Canadiens. And that brings in the hire of Martin St. Louis as head coach, a guy who had zero NHL experience as a head coach, but he felt that he was the right guy for the job. And in fact, it was actually Kent Hughes that helped step in and help make the hire for Marty St. Louis specifically. So we know, based on what we've seen and what we've heard from the Crave series, from the behind the scenes that we get from the Canadiens from time to time, Marty St. Louis is an effective communicator. That's the day that Marty walked in the door and talked to his players in the spring of 2023, still in late winter of 2022, is that the hair was standing up on the back of the necks of players. They had goosebumps listening to Marty St. Louis' first speech in the locker room to the Montreal Canadiens. If only we had footage of that meeting. I would love to see that. But we heard about how effective Marty St. Louis was in communicating to his players. Another great example of communication is Kent Hughes was a former player agent, as we know. And this is why I just said yesterday in the Lane Hudson signing video that Kent Hughes was selected to be general manager of this team for good reason. And that is his communication with the players, with the agents that are negotiating contracts with the players that he wants to sign. He knows how to manage a hockey team because he knows how to manage people. If you talk to any other manager or any other employee, if they have a good manager, they're more likely to stick around in their job. You've heard the saying before that people don't quit their jobs, they quit their managers. Yeah, that's a real thing. Therefore, I think Kent Hughes was and is the best choice for the Canadiens general manager position, and that's why I give full kudos to Jeff Gorton for finding Kent Hughes, and also, even though the first time Kent Hughes wasn't interested, he thought about it. And Kent Hughes came to Montreal because he's a former Montreal native, as we know, but he came here because he wanted to accomplish something. That was the biggest reason he wanted to come here, was because he wants to win a Stanley Cup with the Montreal Canadiens. One of the biggest differences with this current Canadiens management regime, if you will, is there hasn't been many contract disputes that have gone public that have lasted very long. We just saw the Lane Hutson one, and it lasted a matter of days. Kent Hughes is firm in his belief in where the Canadiens are at, and even said so just now that he even feels like this process of building the Canadiens is even in a way now just beginning. This is all about building a culture. That's the first thing we heard from the very outset from Jeff Molson, is that this version of the Canadiens needed a culture reset, and that's what we've seen. You feel the difference around the Montreal Canadiens and the way they communicate with us, the fans, through the media, with Jeff Gorton and Kent Hughes every time they talk to us, because that's who they're talking to, and that's what Marty St. Louis has also said. He knows when he's talking to the media, he's talking to us, the fans, and they've been very, very transparent and clear what the plan is for the Montreal Canadiens for the most part, and we've entrusted them. And so far, it's worked out pretty good. 3.5 years in, they've already made the playoffs when they weren't even expected to make the playoffs. On top of all of this, these guys are super intelligent when it comes to the hockey operations, hence why Jeff Gorton has now been officially given the full title of president of hockey operations for the Canadiens. Through each draft process, through getting Juraj Slafkovsky, through David Reinbacher being selected, through Ivan Demidov being selected, through Zurovsky being selected, through all the players, Lane Hutson, hello, through every single draft, we've gotten to get a little bit closer of a picture of how the Canadiens brass go about doing their business, and they don't shy away from us. They've brought us all these draft videos to show us more insight onto how the process goes, to arguing over which players they feel should be drafted. That's where we've seen Nick Bobrov shine the most, is really having some excellent insight over in the Russian leagues, in the KHL, and just finding the right people for the job to be in the best position, to put the Montreal Canadiens in the best position to be successful. So far, I have absolutely no complaints. I have to tell you that even though it was like a 5-minute conversation, I've spoken in person with Kent Hughes, and like I mentioned, they don't hide. They're at the arena, they're out in public, they know fans are going to approach them, they don't shy away. They appreciate and they acknowledge the people that support them the most. And that's why, for me personally, getting a chance to talk with the general manager of the Montreal Canadiens was a rare opportunity. I appreciated it, but I felt like I was treated like, any other fan should. And you felt in the moment that you had Kent Hughes' attention, and it was just a really cool moment. I appreciated it. What do you guys think about this extension for Jeff Gorton and Kent Hughes? Let me know your thoughts down below. I can't wait to hear them. Let's enjoy the home opener. Go Habs, go guys. I'm excited for this to continue. Let them finish what they started, and let's see where it takes us. God bless you guys. God love you. Thank you. We'll see you soon. Ciao.